Hello, I'm Beth Wagner, physical therapist. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly walk with a cane. I have 4 different varieties here in my studio to show you. I'll point out the distinctive features of each of these canes, and then I'll demonstrate the proper gait pattern to use with a cane, along with a few options and variations. First, I'll quickly review how to be sure that the cane is fit and adjusted properly for you. Standing with tall posture, place the cane at your side and rest the hand grip against your thigh. Now let your hand hang down on the outside of the cane. The cane is adjusted properly when the hand grip meets the wrist crease. So this cane is a good fit for me. I feel the hand grip right at the crease in my wrist. If you need to adjust the height, most of these canes are height adjustable. Now I'll show you how to adjust the height on this single point cane because I think the adjustment will be a little bit easier to see in the camera. First, you'll notice a ring toward the bottom of the cane. Loosen this ring in order to adjust the height. You'll feel that there's play now in that ring. Next, press the silver button in so that it is flush with the edge of the cane. And now, pull either up or down on the shaft of the cane in order to make it taller or shorter. And pull it down until the button pops into the next hole. And you'll hear it click when it pops in. Just like that. Now be sure to tighten the ring at the bottom before you use the cane. And again, I'll check the height by placing my arm right along the top of the hand grip. And I can feel that the hand grip meets the crease of my wrist. So this feels like a good fit for me. While I have this single point cane in my hand, we'll start with this device. You'll notice that the top is offset. This provides a great deal of support because the hand is closer to the center of the stick, the center of support. You can see that from the side. Many people find this style cane to be the most comfortable and to provide the most stability and the easiest to move with. Now I'll show you the same style cane but with a quad tip. This cane is the same as the one I just showed you, except that it has a fun, fancy pattern on the shaft and it has a quad tip on the end. This tip can be purchased separately. The original tip that comes on the cane is removed and this tip is added on. The main purpose of this additional tip is for the cane to stand up on its own, which is very convenient when you want to make sure that the cane stays right by your side. The quad tip adds a little bit of weight to the cane, but depending on your use, it's well worth it if you want your cane to stand up on its own. Now moving on to the narrow-based quad cane, also known simply as a quad cane. This cane also stands up on its own, and it offers a lot more support than the single point cane or the single point cane with the quad tip. You'll see the 4 tips on the bottom of this cane create a wider base of support. This cane offers more stability than the single point cane or the single point cane with the quad tip. It is height adjustable the same way the single point canes were, with an adjustment ring on the bottom and the button here on the shaft to slide up or down. You'll also notice with the quad cane that 2 of the tips are more in line with the shaft of the cane, and 2 of the tips stick out a little bit farther. When walking with this cane, you want to have the tips that are closer to the shaft, closer to your body, so that there's less chance of tripping over the cane. This particular cane should be used in my right hand so that the tips are farther away from my foot and closer to the cane. However, when adjusting the height on a quad cane, oftentimes it's possible to spin this bottom portion 180 degrees in order to make it appropriate for the other side. And finally, the last cane I want to show you today is called a handy cane. This cane is a straight stick cane with a plastic molded handle, and it has an added feature that it is a reacher. So this cane is not height adjustable. It comes in sizes. This is a size large, which is a little bit too tall for me. Based on what I already mentioned with fit, the handle is much higher than the crease in my wrist. And looking at it from the side, the angle of my elbow is much greater than 20 degrees. However, I can still demonstrate the key feature of this cane. This cane can be turned into a reacher by pulling up on the center component and then releasing the trigger on the hand grip. Now when I reach for something, I pull the trigger to close the clasp at the end and pick up the item. And then to release the grip of the reacher, I would release the trigger. So again, I pull the trigger underneath the handle to close the reacher and release the trigger to release the reacher. To turn it back into a cane, I'll close the reacher with the trigger under the handle, slide this grip down toward the tip. And now I'm able to walk with it as a regular cane. Okay, now we'll move on to standing posture with a cane, sequencing the steps with the cane, and making turns safely. When standing with a cane, it's important to have upright, tall posture. A great way to quickly check your posture is to lift the chest, do a little bit of a chin tuck, and relax the shoulders down and back. Now I'll move on to walking with the cane. The cane is best used in the arm opposite of the weakest leg. So for example, if I've had a stroke and my left leg is weak, I would want to use the cane in my right hand. And the reason for this is that as we step forward with the cane at the same time as the affected leg, when it's on opposite sides, there's a greater base of support on the floor. There's more balance support and a greater ability to press through the cane to offset weight on that affected leg. Now compare this to using the cane on the same side. If it was my right leg that was affected and I step forward at the same time as the cane, that's a much smaller footprint. It's a much smaller base of support. There's less balance support here at the wrist. The second reason why we use the cane on the opposite side of the affected leg is because that's the natural walking pattern. When we walk, we swing the opposite arm forward. Using the cane on the opposite side allows for a more natural gait pattern. Faster speed, safer with better balance. So let's take a look at that. Okay, let's say again that my left leg has been affected by a stroke. So I'm using the cane in my right hand. Now the first step is to move the cane forward, about 6 inches or so forward of the foot, and a couple inches out to the side to allow room for the hip to move next to the cane. The cane could be moved forward and then a step taken with the left foot, or the cane could be moved at the same time as the left foot. Depends a lot on the severity of the injury, how recent the injury was, how comfortable somebody is using an assistive device. So first I'll show you moving the cane before the foot. So I would move the cane forward and then left foot and then right foot. Then I'll move the cane forward, left foot, and then right foot. Another option is to move the cane forward, left foot, and then step through with the right foot. So taking a bit of a longer step, that would be a progression. And then cane and left foot, and then I would step through with the right foot. I'll show you these from the side so you can see a few more steps. Cane goes first, and then left foot and right foot to meet the left foot. Or we can take a longer step. Cane, left foot, and the right foot steps through. Cane, left foot meets the cane, and then right foot steps through. Now I'll show you the progression where the cane and the left foot move at the same time. So cane and left foot, and then right foot steps through. Cane and left foot, right foot steps through. Cane and left foot, right foot steps through. Those variations are helpful to ensure safe mobility as well as allow a progression for faster walking once the individual is ready for that. It's always best to start with the slowest, most stable walking technique, and then to move on as balance, strength, and comfort improve. All right, now I'll show you the single point cane with the quad tip. It's very similar to what I just showed you. This time I'll show you with the cane in my left hand. So I would be using the cane in my left hand if my right leg was affected. The cane goes forward about 6 to 8 inches and out to the side about 2 to 3 inches. And then right foot meets the cane at the same level as the cane. And then left foot. Now cane, right foot, and then left foot. Now, one progression of this is to move the cane at the same time as the right foot. Cane and right foot, and then the left foot comes forward. Cane and right foot, and the left foot comes forward. Now I'll show you a further progression. I'll show this one from the side so that you can see more steps. Cane and the right foot go together, the left foot steps through. Cane and right foot together, left foot steps through. Cane and right foot together. And continued. The main difference, as I've already mentioned, between the single point cane with the straight tip and with the quad tip or the quad pod is that this cane stands up on its own. When walking with it, it does offer a little bit more stability. However, it also rocks a little bit on the end. It's also slightly heavier than a single point cane with the straight tip. But it's an excellent choice when you want your cane to stay where you put it. And finally, the narrow-based quad cane. The main difference when walking with a quad cane is that it's much slower than a single point cane. And it's a bit more cumbersome because it's easier to pick up the cane and put it down with all 4 tips at the same time, rather than swinging it forward and putting 2 tips down and then the other 2 tips. So it ends up making for a much smaller step, and I'll show you that now. I'll move the cane forward about 4 to 6 inches, step forward with my left foot, and then step forward with my right foot, all in line with the cane. Again, move the cane forward, and then left foot and right foot. I'll show you a few variations from the side. Left foot at the same level as the cane, and then right foot. Cane, and then left foot and right foot. Cane, left foot, and right foot. You'll notice how much smaller my step is. Now it is possible to step the cane and the left foot forward at the same time. That feels very comfortable using the quad cane. Another way that the quad cane is more cumbersome is if you want to step through with the other foot. For example, bring the cane forward and then my left foot. Now if I want to step through with my right foot, it feels more awkward having this cane behind me with all 4 tips on the ground. With the other styles of cane, it's easier to let the cane come forward. But this is a bit more clunky because of the 4 tips. All right, now I'll demonstrate a couple of turns using a cane. The key safety consideration when turning while using a cane is to keep the cane out of the way. It needs to be placed off to the side of the body before the turn is initiated. I'll show you what I mean. Standing here, if I want to turn to my right, the cane is in my way if I were to step with my right foot first. So the cane needs to go out to the side, and then a step needs to be initiated. So in this situation, typically we would move the cane first, and then the foot that's closest to the cane, so contrary to what I already said about stepping with the opposite leg. When we make a turn, the cane goes first, the leg that's closest to it, and then the other leg. Now, when turning to the left, we still want to keep the cane out of the way. So I could place it forward for stability and then turn my left foot and then my right foot. Keep the turns small so that you don't end up in this position. You want to use small steps. Small movement of the cane and small steps when turning. Making turns with the quad cane requires even smaller steps, but the same basic technique applies. Finally, just a couple quick safety tips in the home and in the community. Be sure to watch for any slippery or wet surfaces, as well as any cracks or tripping hazards in your path. When you first start to use the cane, be sure that you're looking down at the surface where you put the tip of the cane. If you're using the cane in the home and you become used to using it and you know that your pathway is clear, then that's a good time to start looking up while you're walking. Vary looking up and looking down to check for safety. You'll be able to maintain better posture if you're at least taking a step now and then while looking up, instead of constantly looking down while you're walking. If you're using a cane that does not stand up on its own, like a typical straight cane or the offset single point cane, it's important to watch where you place it so that it doesn't fall out of your reach or fall into a walkway and become a tripping hazard. Okay, that wraps up this video on the proper fit and use of canes. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I hope this information helps you safely and properly use your cane so that you can perform the activities you love every single day to the best of your ability. Have a fantastic day.